Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by Mexican women's national team and Seattle Reign FC forward Katie Johnson. Katie, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. Katie, the name of the game is really random. That's where I ask you a random question and you give me the real answer. Some of these questions are custom made just for you, and some of these questions are generic ones that I ask all the people I interview. So, here's the first question. Superpower you'd love to have?
Probably super speed, because I'm not that fast and it'd be cool to have.
Favorite movie?
The Goonies.
Favorite color?
Blue.
Favorite guilty pleasure?
Sweets. I really like chocolate chip cookies.
Katie, you recently completed your first year in the NWSL, so how was it? How was life as an NWSL rookie?
It was definitely a new experience, and I really enjoyed it. I tried to just go with the flow and take every little bit in, and it was a good experience.
I'm sure when you were a kid growing up, you dreamed of what it would be like to play pro soccer. Now that you've done that, did the dreams you had when you were a kid growing up and the reality of what it's actually like to play pro soccer, did those two match up?
In some ways, yes. Playing with girls that you aspire to be when you're younger, playing against them and with them, I think is a really cool experience, and to say that I've done that is really cool. I mean, obviously, I think it's a bigger picture when you're younger and you idolize them, and you're at that point, you're like, wow, that's me. So it's pretty cool. I really like it.
When you got into the league, you were riding a massive wave of momentum. You were enjoying a lot of success. You were the hero of the College Cup. You performed amazing in that tournament. You followed that up with a great game against Canada when you were playing with the Mexican women's national team a little bit before the NWSL season started. And then you really hit the ground running when you made your debut for the Seattle Reign. Now, from the outside looking in, it looked like you made a very smooth transition going from college to pro, because you made an immediate impact when you first got onto the pitch for them. But from your perspective, was it a smooth transition?
I think people sometimes recognize your success based on how many goals you score sometimes, especially as a forward. So I think from the outside, yeah, it does look a lot better because I did have that success in the College Cup, and going in the NWSL, I had some early goals, and playing against Canada, I had a goal. So, yeah, I think it does look smooth, but there's times where, you do doubt yourself as a player, and you have to just, I love soccer so much, so I've just always tried to stay optimistic as I can. And for me, when I know I play well is when I feel like I've gelled with the team and I'm connecting. So I think I give myself a different rating based off what other people say how I play. So I think sometimes I think I do well, and there's times where I think I could do better. So, but yeah, I think I did a pretty good job transitioning from college to the NWSL and just getting more minutes and proving to people that I can hang with the big dogs in a way.
The two most popular answers to this next question are usually either the speed of the game and or the quality of the players. For you, what was the toughest transition you had to make going from college to pro?
I would say probably the quality of players. Everyone's pretty consistent, and I would say what I mean by quality of players is my teammates. Mm-hmm. The girls on the Reign are really good, and they push you to be the best every day. So it's hard to get a starting spot wherever you're at. There's not a lot of teams in the NWSL, so to be on the starting lineup and to get a lot of minutes, I think anywhere is a big honor. And to prove yourself and be a consistent player, I think that's what any person in the NWSL wants to do. So I think, yeah, definitely the competition in the girls. I think the speed of play for me was, I think I can easily fit into that. So, yeah, I would say the girls for sure.
Now, I'm very interested to hear your answer because you didn't play your senior year of high school. You missed that season due to a torn ACL. So when you arrived at USC as a freshman, you hadn't played since your junior year of high school. So what's more challenging? The transition going from high school, where you run into a few good players during an entire season, to college, where you run into a few good players on every team, making that jump, or going from college to pro, where everyone's good? What's the tougher transition? Going from high school to college or college to pro?
That's tough. I would say just personally, because I came from high school to college with a knee injury.
Right.
And then my freshman year I was going in based off of, I felt like I was basically a new player and I had a different coach. I think it has to do with coaching a lot and how they see you, how you fit as a player, and how you become a certain role, how you can play a certain role for the team. So I would say for me, I think it was harder actually going from high school to college, and I think you learn to become more disciplined and you decide what kind of player you want to be. That's when, at least for me, every person's different. I decided that I wanted to be a top player. Not even my freshman year in college. It was probably my sophomore year where I said, hey, I want to get better. So I think it depends for every person, but I would say high school to college was definitely harder than college to professional.
Take me back to the 2017 NWSL draft. You were drafted in the second round, pick number 16 overall. Your former coach, Laura Harvey, once said, the U.S. women's national team would rue the day they let you get away and allowed Mexico to pick you up. And I think the NWSL teams that didn't draft you will rue the day they made that decision, because I thought you were the best player in that draft. You are the steal of a lifetime. I think we're going to look back at this draft in 10 years and wonder why you weren't drafted sooner. I don't know if I was more shocked by the fact that you were still available in the second round or that 6 forwards were selected before you. I thought for sure you'd be drafted in the first round. But when did you think you'd be drafted? What was your agent telling you leading up to the draft?
I honestly came into that day pretty blinded. I didn't know what was going on. I wasn't expecting, definitely not to go first round. I talked to my college coaches and at the time my agent, and we didn't, no one really knew. I was actually told that day, right before getting into the draft, that I wasn't going to be drafted by the Seattle Reign. I was a little upset and then kind of accepted it. And I just remember being so nervous the whole time I was there. After the first round went through, I went outside and was talking to my college coaches who were there, and I was just saying, I was like, I can't be here. I'm getting too much anxiety, and I stayed outside until my coach said, hey, you better go take a seat. They're going to call your name. And I was like, what? That doesn't sound right. Like, I feel like at this point I'm not getting drafted. So I sat back down, and that's when they decided that Seattle Reign was going to trade up. And then my agent said, that's for you. And I was like, all right, here you go. So that's when they made the trade. That's when I knew it was right then and there.
If you had to give yourself a letter grade for how you performed this season, what grade would you give yourself?
That's tough. I think I would say probably like a B+, because I think that times when I sub in, I think I did a good job impacting the game. But I think for the games that I started, I could have done a little more. So yeah, B+ would be a good grade for me, I think.
You made your pro debut back in week 2 against the Houston Dash. You came into the game as a second-half sub. After the game, you said you were nervous when you were being subbed into the game, and you didn't settle down until you got your first touch. Now, is that normal for you? Do you always get nervous before you go in, or was this a special occasion because this was your debut?
Probably. I mean, I'm usually not a nervous person, just based off of, like, when I'm comfortable playing, once I just get a touch on the ball, I feel like it's just all the nerves go away. But when you're watching a game on the bench, and then you feel like you need to come in and make a difference, I think your nerves are a little higher than they usually are. So I think that's just why it's normal nerves for me. But once I get a touch on the ball, it just all goes away. It's just me playing the game, like always.
When you got subbed into that game, it was 4-0. Seattle was comfortably ahead. The game was basically over. So what was your mindset going into that game? Were you thinking, I got to go in and I got to do something amazing? Were you thinking, hey, I'm a forward, we've already scored 4 times, I want to get one too, or I need to get one because I'm a forward? What were you thinking when you were going into that game?
I don't think it's really go in, score. Like, I'm not going to pass the ball. If the opportunity comes, I'm usually more of a person who looks to pass first and take the ball and take the whole team on. That's not really my style. So it's usually just keep moving, stay light on my feet, keep the ball moving, and let the game be the game. And if I score, so be it. So if there's an opportunity, I'm going to take my chance, and that's kind of how it happened, I guess. It's just I was in the right place at the right time and got my head on the ball. So, yeah.
That seems to be a common theme for you this season. You being in the right place at the right time. And we're going to talk about all your goals from this season, but it mainly applies to your first goal and your 4th goal of the season. Now, you scored 4 goals on the year. The first goal you scored was in that game against Houston, so you made your debut and you scored your first goal as a pro all on the same day. Talk me through that goal, because you were in the right place at the right time. Megan Rapinoe crosses the ball in. It goes off Jane Campbell's hands and finds its way to your head, and the ball goes into the back of the net. Walk me through that play.
Yeah, I was just trying to get near post to be the near post runner, which it usually is, to get it in the keeper's way a little bit for the cross, and Pino's cross happened to get Jane was able to get a hand on it, and then my immediate reaction was just to get the ball next, so that's what I did.
Your second goal came in Week 7, again, against Houston, this time on the road in Houston and on Lifetime. I'm pretty sure before Carrie Riccaro goes to sleep at night, she checks under her bed to make sure you're not there, because you have to haunt her dreams. Your first 2 goals were over her. The header that you had in Week 2 was over her. And this goal that you had in Week 7, she was the one covering you again. And for this goal, you were able to turn her and get her off balance and then get off the perfect shot and score a great goal. So walk me through the execution of this one.
I guess I think the one thing I can remember is that I turned her pretty well, and that's one of my better suits as a player. I really like to turn players and know how to position my body. So Naho, I remember she cut in, and we made eye contact. It kind of reminded me actually of the semifinal. Yeah,
I was just going to say that. I was like, you love that box out, because it was exactly like that one.
I like having someone tight on my back. I know I can turn people, and so I was able to get a good position on her and turn her, and from there I was like easy slot. So, yeah, it was easy finish.
Your third goal came in Week 18 versus Chicago. Now, I don't know what's better, your goal or your celebration after it. But first, we'll start with the goal. This goal happened deep into stoppage time, and in a very exciting way, because the team was down 1-0, and it looked like Chicago was going to win. Then, in the 90th minute, Kawasumi gets a goal, and the game is tied at 1-1. Then your goal comes in the 92nd minute and steals the game from Chicago. So in a matter of minutes, the team goes from 0 to 1 to 3 points, and it was incredible. I absolutely love your goal. For me, it's all about your first touch. If you're too heavy, the goalkeeper, Michelle Dalton, can come up and either make you shoot before you want to or take the ball off your foot. If you're not heavy enough, Julie Ertz or Casey Short, the 2 players that were trailing you, can get there and make a play on the ball. But the way you do it on this play was perfect. Not too heavy, not too light, and the shot is perfect. You keep the ball on the ground. It's a brilliant goal. Well done. Talk me through this play.
Yeah, Merritt played me. I was looking for that run a lot the whole game. Sometimes I was offsides, and that time I think I held my run pretty well, and I got on the right shoulder of, I think it was Casey, I can't remember. Mm-hmm. But I was just on a good spot, and Merritt played me a great ball. And, yeah, I took my first touch right where I wanted to go. And those are the kind of 1v1s that I'm really comfortable in. I like to just, I'm a passer, pass a shooter. I have to keep her where she wants it, but I've been told or coached. So, yeah, I just placed it in the corner, and that was an easy finish for me, which is something I'm comfortable with. So.
Now to your celebration. What exactly is this, and what are we going to call it?
Okay, so there's a player for Chivas, Rodolfo Pizarro. When he scores, he does that celebration, and I've seen it in the finals of their tournament for the Mexican League, and so I thought it was pretty cool. I didn't think people would understand, so I didn't really go 100% into it. I did kind of a half version of it, so that was my version, so that's how it ended up looking.
No, it was great because you were so calm. Normally, if someone scores in the way you scored, they'd be going crazy, but the way you did it was awesome because you were like, it's just another day at the office. You were all calm and cool, like, yeah, I've done this before. It's no big deal. That was a gangster move on your part. Love that celebration.
Yeah, thank you.
Your fourth and final goal of the season came in Week 19 versus Sky Blue FC. Now, what exactly happened on this play? Because this goal is the definition of you being in the right place at the right time. So, walk me through this goal.
It was actually, I think, more of just a scramble in the box at first, and the ball got to Rumi, and I think I was actually trying to get out of the way for her shot, and it ended up deflecting off of me, and it went in the goal. So I got pretty lucky with that one, but it was funny. It was more of a team goal. I wouldn't really take credit for that one.
Yeah. Katie, right now I'm torn between the second goal you had against Houston and the goal you had against Chicago for what I think was your best goal of the season, but I can't decide because I love both of them, so I'll let you decide for me. What would you say was your best goal of the season?
I think I liked the Houston one the best because I think that one is like signature Katie, so I'd have to say the second Houston goal was my favorite.
Okay, that sounds good. That's the one we'll go with. Now, earlier I asked you to give a letter grade on yourself for how you played this season, but what about the team? If you had to give the team a letter grade, what grade would you give the team for this season?
And for an overall grade, I would say like a C plus B minus. I think that this is honest again, I think we just weren't as consistent as we wanted to be. I think the team had a lot of talent, and there were games where we should have put teams away, and I think if we can do that next season, I think we'll for sure be in the tournament, and if not winning a championship. So that's all we have to do is be a little more consistent, and I think we'll be good.
There were a lot of wild finishes and come-from-behind wins for the team this season, and surprisingly, all of these games were away games and all towards the end of the season. There was that game against Chicago in Week 18 that we talked about. There was that game against Orlando in Week 22 where Alex Morgan scored a goal in the 92nd minute, and Orlando thinks not only have they won the game, but have also claimed a playoff spot. But then in the 94th minute, Jess Fishlock scores a goal, and the game ends in a 1-1 draw, and Seattle's playoff hopes are still alive. Then there was that game in Week 24 against Washington where you guys were down 2-0 and then scored 3 goals in the last 19 minutes to win 3-2. But things didn't always end well for the team this season, because in Week 19 against Sky Blue FC, the team led 3-0 at halftime, and then Sam Kerr scored 4 goals in the second half to give Sky Blue the win 5-4 in one of the wildest games of all time. And going into that game, I had a feeling it was going to be a good one because the 2 previous games between Seattle and Sky Blue were great. But my question to you is, what was greater, the feeling of happiness and excitement from these 3 crowd-silencing comebacks, or the feeling of disappointment from the Sky Blue game?
That's tough. I think it's, you go from such lows to highs, and that's exactly why I gave that grade, because our team would have these great moments where you're like, wow, this is a special team, and then give the game away, or we work our asses, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, work our butts off.
Hey, you can say whatever you want. Let it fly. You're the boss.
Okay. Work our butts off, and in the Orlando game, and I thought that was I didn't play that much that game, but I think it was really fun to watch. The team worked so hard, and we all had a game plan, and we had to play a game early, and we worked through a lot of adversity and ended up tying. So, I think each game has its moments, but you just have that's like a learning experience with the team, and in my rookie season especially.
As an individual player, what would you say was your best game of the year?
Oh, man, that's tough. I think a special game for me was probably, which made me feel more confident was the Washington Spirit game, where it was one of our first games at home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember it.
A lot of minutes, and I was part of 2 of the goals, I think, and I just felt comfortable, and I was playing the way I like to play, and that's what made me settle into the team, I think. So I would say the Washington Spirit game was a special one for me.
I'm sure you have lots of stories from the season. What was the craziest thing that happened to you during your rookie year? And I'll let you choose what the definition of crazy is. It can be crazy like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening, this is great, or crazy like, that was strange, I didn't expect that to happen. Does anything come to mind?
I think one game that really sticks out to me was the Sky Blue game, where we were down, or we were winning 3-0, and they came back 3-3, and I remember I was subbed in the game at that point, and it was pretty exciting. For me, it was crazy, and at the end of the game when we came back and won 4-3, it was the whole day, the rest of the night, I was like, wow, that was a crazy game. And I think Sam Kerr is such a special player, and sometimes it's pretty cool to see her do some pretty crazy things, and she does it against every team. So when she did it against us, I was actually pretty shocked to see all that happen, too. Not once, but twice.
In pro football, American football that is, there's this thing called a welcome to the NFL moment. That's when a rookie realizes they're no longer in college and are now a pro player. Since this was your rookie year, what was your welcome to the NWSL moment?
That's tough, but I think just the practices with the rain, I think the preseason, when I realized, I think one of the biggest differences from college to pros is there's no such thing as having an off day. I think I remember Jess Fishlock getting she was after me at one practice because I was off, and I knew it too. And I think that's when you realize, hey, you have to bring every day, it has to be your best day. And I think that's when I realized that's the pro life. So,
hobbies outside of soccer.
I have a cat, so I'd like to hang out with my cat. I like to hang out with my friends. When I'm in Seattle, I like to be at the lake. What else? What else do I do? Watch a lot of TV. But not too many hobbies. Soccer has been my life, and I don't know what I'd do without it.
Do you have any pregame rituals or superstitions?
Well, I usually like to make sure I wet my hair to slick it back. That's something I have to do. And just listening to some type of good pump up music. I like to listen to reggaeton usually to kind of pump me up. But nothing super specific. I'm not weird, superstitious kind of person. I usually can do a lot of things and feel comfortable. a good pre-breakfast meal is actually important for me, I would say.
Most important meal of the day.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So it's just water that keeps your hair in place, because you always have perfect hair and you do it with no hair tie.
I can't do the frizzy, so I have to put water on it. Yeah, I usually just put water and pat it down.
Do you have any post-game rituals?
Well, usually I'm doing extra fitness with the team, so I'm not getting the full minutes if I don't get the full minutes. Post-game rituals, no, not really. Just a lot of sleep. I like to go to sleep. Usually eat some pizza afterwards, but that's it.
Biggest soccer girl problem?
Oh, gosh, biggest soccer girl problem? I don't know. That's really tough. Can I get back to you on that one?
Sure. We'll come back to it a little bit later.
All right.
I'll ask you again. But one thing I wanted to ask you, it seems like as you got more and more comfortable, your socks kept on getting lower and lower. At the beginning of the season, your socks were really high, but as the season went on, they got lower and lower. Is that like a thing? Like, you can wear your socks a little bit lower after you've proven yourself?
No, I actually really like the sock look, but the beginning of season, it's really cold.
Oh, I see.
Especially in Seattle, and it's on turf, so I had opened up my leg quite a bit from my shin from sliding on the turf, so I had to do the high. I really like wearing low socks, but with the turf, I have to wear high socks. But when we're away or playing on a grass field, I definitely always do the low socks.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Right now, you're back at your old stomping grounds, Flint Ridge Sacred Heart Academy. You're the head coach of the JV soccer team. Now, I know the season just started and only a few games have been played, but how have things been going so far?
We actually lost our first game and tied our second game, so I don't know how my coaching skills are. I might need to learn a few things, but I'm just hoping they're having a good time and having fun so far.
Have any of your players asked you for an autograph?
No, but I get a lot of different questions every day about something new or question or something they saw, and they have to ask me about it, which is pretty fun.
Now, are most of the questions about you, or are most of the questions about teammates or people you've played against?
So far, they've been about me. I did get a few of, oh, you played against Alex Morgan? And I'm like, yeah. They usually feel pretty starstruck about that stuff, but I let them know that I just graduated. It almost feels like yesterday from there, and so just want to make them feel comfortable.
And nobody brought up how you blew past Allie Krieger, because the internet absolutely loves that moment.
It's funny. No, I haven't gotten that one yet. Oh. That's funny. Yeah, I remember that. I remember knowing I was about to go for 50-50 with her, and I just thought, I know this girl's probably stronger than me, so I just put my shoulder a little bit more into her, and I somehow got out of that tackle on top. So I don't know how that happened.
How did you get to be the coach at Sacred Heart? Obviously, they know you because you went there. So did they call you and say, hey, we want you to come coach JV? Or did you reach out to them? How did this opportunity come about?
No, I actually reached out to my athletic director originally asking if any girls wanted private training. And then she had told me that the JV coach spot was available. And I was like, oh, yeah, that actually sounds like a lot of fun. So I'm actually going to practice with them today. So it's fun. I really like it so far, and I hope the girls are having fun and enjoying the time. I want them to have the same experiences and memories that I had at the Shaw.
Was this something that you were always interested in doing? Obviously, like you just mentioned, you were doing privates and you've worked with young players before. Did you always plan on getting into coaching? Probably not right now because you're still playing, but eventually, was this something that you wanted to do?
Definitely. I really enjoy teaching girls how to, what I have learned from soccer and things that I found success in. I've also learned that I don't have a very good yelling voice, and I need to work on that. But I think that coaching, I could see myself doing that in the future. I've always been a student of the game, and I don't think I've always been the most athletic player, but I've always been someone who watches a lot of soccer and tries to learn as much as I can to make myself better. So I think that coaching could definitely be somewhat in the future, and if I really think that I can do it, I think coaching a JV team is a good way to start.
Is that cycling studio you work at in Seattle or in Southern California? And if it's in California, do you still work there?
That's in Seattle. It was actually really close to where I was living, and had a little too much extra time, so I thought, why not? Let's work at the cycling studio. I can get free classes in while I'm there. So I'm not working there, obviously, right now since I'm home, but maybe I'll get back into it when I am back.
If you weren't a pro soccer player, what would your job be?
Probably something in real estate. I really like, my dream job would be to flip homes or do something with, like, retail or like a multi-use. I don't know. That was my major in college, so I'm interested in real estate and would like to do that one day.
What about becoming an actress? I saw your Disney Junior commercial, and I was inspired. You inspired me. You were very convincing. You're a natural, and the camera loves you. Is that something you've thought about doing? I mean, this could be the perfect tie-in with you flipping homes in the future. It could be Flip or Flop with Katie Johnson.
That would be really cool. Yeah, no, I don't think acting. I did an acting class actually my freshman year in college, which was really fun because I did it with a lot of student athletes. But I don't think I could do the acting. That was pretty tough for me to do the Disney Channel. I was pretty nervous. I don't think they did a pretty good job hiding it. But that was my cousin that did it with me, and it was really fun. I had a good experience doing it, so it was fun.
What was the better dance? The dance you did in Chicago after scoring that goal, or the dance you did in that commercial?
Oh, God, I think they're equally pretty embarrassing. I was just trying to make my cousin feel comfortable, and it was fun. I would say the goal dance celebration was a little better.
Wait, hold on. Your co-star in that commercial is your cousin in real life?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's adorable.
Yeah, cute kid. I thought you two had great chemistry together, and now I know why. This was good. I love that.
They do that. They want like a girl. Look at these. They do little kids. So they want them to feel more comfortable on the set. So it was pretty easy to have my cousin do it with me.
Is she an actress?
No, but she did it great. She knew her lines better than I did, and I was very impressed. So she should probably act.
Absolutely. She was great. We need to get her an agent immediately. Now, was that the only commercial you did? Because I know sometimes they do multiple versions of the same commercial. Is that the only one that you made?
Yeah, no, that's the only thing I filmed. But fun fact is that I'm one of the background people with she went to the same high school as me, Kayla Mills, and she plays for Sky Blue.
Right.
We do a lot of we'll be on the background of Girl Meets World.
Oh.
Our high coach is the producer of it, so that's our little star, a little fame right there, is that we're in the background a lot on the show.
Favorite food?
Favorite food is definitely anything my mom makes, which can range usually from Mexican food, and she makes some good pasta dishes, so anything my mom makes is really good. And pizza. She makes really good homemade pizza.
Favorite band and or solo artist?
Right now I'm a big fan of Rush. He's a rapper. Yeah, I really like him.
Favorite TV show, and it can be a show currently on the air or a show no longer on the air, just overall favorite TV show.
Probably my guilty pleasure too, but I love The Challenge on MTV. I've watched it since I was in high school, and I've just been addicted to it.
Your nickname is K-Joe, but I like to call you Camo Katie because you seem to blend in with your surroundings. In that game back in February against Canada when you were playing for Mexico, you were wide open on that corner kick. You were in the box, and still, no one decided to cover you. Then after you score the goal, the players on Canada are looking around like, where did she come from? How did she get there? Then in the final of the College Cup against West Virginia, the first goal that you had in that game, again, You're wide open, and originally I thought the defender came off you to help out, but then I went back and watched that play again, and I'm pretty sure she never even saw you. And then when you had that goal in Olympic qualifying against Costa Rica, this one was really crazy because you make a run and you're wide open, but you're in like an offside position or something, and I don't think your teammate saw you that time, so you go back around and you make another run, and again, no one covered you, and you're wide open and you just tap it in for the goal. So some way, somehow, you're always in the right spot and you're always wide open. Why is that?
I just try to keep moving in the box and try to be in a good place. I think sometimes if you make runs, you might not get the ball, but if you just try to show up in good spots, I guess good things happen. So that's all I could say. I don't have an explanation for it, but it works.
Camo Katie, that's why I started calling you that, because somehow you're blending in with your surroundings and people are losing track of you. Because especially in that Canada game, the ball comes right to you and all you have to do is just stick your leg up and the ball goes right in and everyone's looking around like, where did she come from?
It's funny because some of my college teammates said I play like a snake. I kind of like slither around, so I guess that kind of works too.
Maybe it's better that you don't develop that yelling voice. Maybe it's better that you stay quiet.
Yeah, just a silent assassin.
Yeah. Now, in soccer, when we think of jersey numbers, we think of number 9 or number 10 or some low number, but you wear number 33, so why number 33?
3 was actually my lucky number, like, growing up, and then it was taken in college, so I was like, okay, what are other good numbers, and I really like Kobe Bryant a lot, and I knew 24 was taken, but in high school, his number was 33, so I was like, all right, I'll try 33, why not? And then it kind of just stuck with college. I decided to keep it, and then by the time the NWSL came around, they asked me what jersey number I wanted, and the numbers that were mostly low numbers were taken, so I was like, all right, 33 again, so I just kept it with me.
Celebrity people say you look like?
I don't know. I feel like I don't really know celebrity names that well. So, and I don't feel like I'm a specific person, so I couldn't tell you who I look like as a celebrity.
Hey, if you keep playing the way you've been playing, people are going to be saying that somebody looks like you.
That'd be cool.
Go-to song when you're singing in the shower?
Natasha Bedingfield. I don't know the name of the song. It's Feel the Rain on Your Skin, like.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know the name of the song.
I'm sure people ask you a lot about this, but why don't you have a Twitter?
Oh, I just made a Twitter last week. I just started last week, and I don't even know how to tweet, and I'm really nervous to post something because I don't know how to do it and what you're supposed to post. So I'm kind of waiting to figure out what's going on in the Twitter world. So yeah, I just joined last week. I don't even know what my Twitter name is really. So I think it's Katie A. Johnson 33, but I'm not sure. So hopefully, yeah, it works.
Now that I know you have a Twitter, please allow me to rephrase the question. Why did it take you so long to get one?
I don't know. I've never been on Twitter before, and I like Instagram, and sometimes I'm just not someone who likes to read into what people are saying about me and what votes on polls and how they feel about players. Sometimes I think it's just best to let your game do the work or let your game do the talking, and I just try to avoid all that stuff. So, I mean, hopefully I can still, I'm not going to look into it too much, but yeah, I feel like Twitter sometimes can get in people's heads, and that's not what I want to do, so I just try to stay away from it.
You won a share of the team award for Best Social Media Game. Now, I've seen your Instagram many times, and I think it's great. I love it. It's definitely award-worthy. But at the time, when you won this award, you didn't have a Twitter, so how were you able to pull this off?
There was definitely some bribery in the locker room that went on that day before voting, and I made sure that some people wrote down my name for a vote. So yeah, I can't take full credit for that award. Cop should probably be the one taking the award on our own, but I will take it. And next year, hopefully, I can get it again, and it will be because I have a Twitter and an Instagram.
What did you get for winning this award? Did they give you a trophy, or is it just the title, the title of winning the award? What exactly did they give you, if anything?
I didn't get a trophy. I just got the award, so I'll take it.
Since you shared this award with Haley Kopmeyer, I have to ask you, why weren't you in an episode of Stops with Cop? I waited the entire year to see you on that show, but it never happened.
We were supposed to do a little rookie video, but it happened right before, I guess, our videographer had left, so we were supposed to be the next episode before there wasn't any more episodes, so we were supposed to be on it, which just never happened.
Obviously, the College Cup final was this past weekend, and like you, I was having flashbacks to last year, and I kept remembering back to the interview you did with Jen Hildreth and Julie Foudy after the game. I don't know why, but I was thinking about that, and I was remembering when you got doused by your teammates, and I remember you saying that you wanted to wear the championship shirt that you were wearing. You wanted to wear that t-shirt all week. So this is a three-part question. The first part is, was that shirt ruined? If so, did they get you a new one? And how many times did you wear it?
So I did get a new shirt, which I ended up wearing probably for about 4 or 5 days before I was like, I wore it the whole day to sleep, woke up, wore it. I think for at least 4 days, and I was like, this is getting a little gross. So had to stop wearing it after that, and I washed it and put it back on again. So definitely all of us were wearing our shirts all week, and it was really fun.
Did you wear the shirt and the hat, or just the shirt?
Oh, shirt and hat, yeah. Definitely all of it.
I don't know much about championship rings, but what I do know is they're custom made, and they're sized to fit the person who owns it. And I noticed that you wear your ring on your middle finger. Why is that?
I think that we all kind of, when we sat down, it was like the next 2 days when we were getting our ring sizes figured out, everyone was saying that they wanted it on their middle finger, so we're like, all right, let's do it. And obviously when you do the side on, the 2 fingers, so people just thought the middle one worked, so we all kind of, I think, just naturally went to that finger, but no particular reason why.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Again, because the College Cup final was this past weekend, I was having flashbacks to last season. And that was an incredible run you guys made to win the national championship. And it's an incredible story. When you first got to USC, things weren't going well. And your first year at USC, the team finished in last place, and it wasn't a good environment. Then a coaching change is made, and the new coach comes in and brings the team together. Then slowly but surely, the team started to win again, and then boom, the team wins the national championship last year. Just an amazing story. It's not only a great story for the team, but it's also a great story for you personally, because you missed the previous season with another ACL injury and had to take a red shirt. So you come back, and you came back very strong. You return better than ever, and you just take over against Georgetown and against West Virginia on the way to winning that national championship. It's a great story. But my question to you is, in the future, what would have to happen to replace that moment as the best moment of your career? Now, I know the obvious answer is winning the World Cup, or winning a gold medal at the Olympics, or winning an NWSL championship, but what do you think?
Yeah, you said it all. I think it was definitely really a roller coaster ride for me. It had its ups and its downs, and throughout it ended up being probably one of the best. Everything that happened ended up working out for me. I don't think I would have had those opportunities. I don't think I'd be playing in the NWSL championship if I didn't get a new coach, not NWSL, I would be playing in the NWSL if I didn't have a new coach or if I didn't tear my ACL. So I really am lucky, I think, to have those opportunities. But again, like, I don't think that you need to have bad things in order to have a good thing happen. So I think, obviously winning an NWSL championship is something that I really want. And for me, I really want Mexico to do well, and I want to be a part of that. So I think that would be an even bigger responsibility and something that would be harder to do because we haven't done so in a while. So I think for a big goal for me was to have success with Mexico and in the World Cup coming up. So first, obviously, the World Cup, we need to qualify for it. So I think day by day, and you have to really work hard and see the little picture so that you can get to the big picture.
You've said one of your main goals right now is to get Mexico into the World Cup and have the team go far, because as of today, Mexico has never won a game at the World Cup. They're 0-6 with 3 draws, so they haven't won a game yet. They've missed a few World Cups because they didn't qualify for them, and they've never made it out of the group stage. But you're looking to change all of that and put them on the map. Now, how close do you think you are to doing that, and is 2019 the year?
I think that there's growth, definitely, with the team. I think it's a lot different than when you see it compared to a U.S. national team where U.S. has all the talent, but maybe they're not as, like, productive, where we do have talent, too, with Mexico. We just need more consistency and playing together and opportunities to play together. So there's a camp coming up in January, and hopefully we can I was just with them in China, and I think that we would show up for games. We played Brazil and China, and we played really well. We just need to be a little more consistent and get to know each other and play a little better soccer, and that just comes with playing more. So I think that we definitely have an opportunity to prove ourselves, and so I think, 2019 is the most hopeful for us, and so is 2018.
Like you just mentioned, the last time you played with Mexico was in China back on October 24th against North Korea. Mexico has played since then. They played on November 25th and 27th against Costa Rica, but you didn't play in those games. Is that because you were coaching at Sacred Heart and couldn't make the trip, or was there another reason why you didn't play in those games?
No, actually, after the China trip, I played 3 90-minute games, and my hip, I don't know if it was the field or just overtraining, but my hips were really bothering me, and I went to practice that week after with SC and tried to get some reps in, and my body just didn't feel right, and I didn't feel, I'm always, like, especially with the 2 injuries, like, I've just learned to not overdo something because I don't want to have to regret it and make a year out of the season, so I just wanted to make sure I was 100%. And of course, I get the flu this week, but it's all right. I think that just making sure I make the right decisions. I think they understood that. I talked to the doctor, so yeah, I'll be back hopefully for the next camp.
How are you feeling right now?
I feel good. I've been training other than being sick. I feel pretty good. I've been working on just making sure I might keep my knees strong and strengthening the muscles around it, and staying fit because. The soccer comes easy to me. It's more just the fitness that I always have to work on.
Well, national team, I guess there really isn't any off-season, but right now it's the off-season for the NWSL. So what's your schedule looking like right now? How many times a day do you train? Do you train in the morning? Do you train at night? A little bit of both? Obviously you have to do your coaching, but what exactly does your schedule look like these days?
Well, I usually like to train in the morning. If I can, I like to train at SC. But it's obviously I live in Monrovia, so I have to train out here sometimes on my own. I like to do some off training with cycling classes. I did one this morning. I try to vary it up because I don't want to get too bored of doing the same thing, and then getting my own touches on the ball, and then coaching takes up me in the middle of the day. So I just try to keep busy with soccer.
This is something that I've really wanted to ask you for a while now. And I'm torn because part of me is happy that she's playing for the U.S. now, but the other part of me is disappointed because I really wanted to see you and her play together, but Sofia Huerta recently got her affiliation changed from Mexico to the United States. Now, I'm sure you probably don't know her well enough to do this, but who knows? You might surprise me. Did you ever reach out to her because she's a great player and you're trying to take Mexico to places they've never been before, and she could definitely help you do that? So did you ever reach out to her and ask her to stick around?
Yeah, no, I personally never have reached out. I know of her, and I know she knows of me, and I think, you know, if that's what she wanted to do, I respect that. I think, yeah, she definitely could have made a difference, but I also understand, like, there's more money and more opportunity sometimes in the United States that Mexico doesn't give, and I honestly, I respect her for doing it. I know a few of my teammates on Mexico had reached out to her, and ultimately she came down to the decision that she wanted to play with the U.S. So, I mean, it's a bummer because, yeah, I think we could have really gelled well and played well together, but she's looking out for herself, and she wants to play for the U.S., so I mean, kudos to her for doing it.
It's too bad. I would have loved to have seen you two play together at the international level, because I think she's a great player, and I think the world of you, so that's unfortunate that it won't happen now, but I don't know. I'm 50-50 on it, but you were never tempted on jumping ship. You were going to stay. I know you said in the past you have no regrets, you enjoy being on the team. You never thought about doing this.
Yeah, I've always been pretty honest with myself, and I know that it's pretty political in the U.S., and even if I were to make it to like a 23 camp or something, I've had 2 knee surgeries, and realistically, I don't know if I would ever make the full team. So I've always been pretty honest with myself, and I'm happy with my choice, and I still get the same opportunities. I could have an opportunity to play in the World Cup, so you know, I'm still really happy with my decision, and yeah, I'm okay with it.
Do you ever think about what your life would look like right now if you didn't have that second knee injury? Because that truly was a life-altering event for you. At the time, it was a major setback for you, but looking back on it now, it turned out to be a blessing in disguise. This injury put you on the path you're on right now. It made you decide to go play for Mexico. It allowed you to play another year at USC and be a part of a team that won a national championship. And because you played another year at USC and had that epic performance in the College Cup, you went from someone who would be remembered as a really good player to a college soccer legend and someone who will be remembered forever. And this was all made possible because of that injury, as strange as this sounds. So, do you ever think about what your life would look like right now if that didn't happen?
Yeah, definitely. I think just having the injury, I think because it was my second one and it wasn't my first, I knew what to expect. I knew I had to work hard. I had a great trainer. I still work with him right now, and I've just been like really lucky, and I knew I had goals that I wanted to reach, and I was going to do it. So I was happy that the coaches let me do another 5th year, and everything worked out the way it needed to, and all I had to do was just put the work in, so that's what I did.
I've noticed that you always have your knees taped up. Is that because you've suffered injuries to both of your knees?
I have pretty bad tendonitis, so it helps with just like the direct pain of the tendonitis and from turf usually. So yeah, I just tape them because of that. It just feels comfortable.
Now back to the NWSL. There's a new sheriff in town. Vlatko Andonovski is the new head coach of the Seattle Reign. Have you talked to him since he became the head coach?
Yeah, I actually just talked to him yesterday. It was funny because he had the wrong number and was calling the wrong number by the last number was off. So he thought that I was trying to avoid him, and I thought I was getting traded. So I had a good laugh about it afterwards once he got good contact with me.
If you don't mind me asking, what topics were discussed in that call?
Just usual, welcoming me to the team and just getting things started and talking about the next year, but just simple conversation to introduce us to each other.
What's your pet peeve?
People who chew with their mouth open and snack.
Besides soccer, what are you passionate about?
Being a good friend to all my friends and laughing. I like laughing.
If you could trade places with anyone in the world for a week, who would you trade places with and why?
Oh, that's tough. I have to be a professional soccer player, but I have so many favorites. Like, can I go back in the time a little bit?
Sure.
Thierry Henry, when he's, like, playing for Arsenal, that would be really cool.
If you could stay one age forever, how old would you stay and why?
Oh, that's tough. There's so many good years. I would say, like, 15, 16 was a fun year for me. I'd say that age.
Some people are afraid of spiders, some people are afraid of heights, some people are afraid of the dark. What are you afraid of?
Heights, 100%.
Time period you'd like to go back and visit, and why?
Probably the 70s, because I really like the style from the 70s, and I kind of dress like a hippie sometimes, so I think that'd be kind of cool.
If you could go on a $1 million shopping spree at any store, what store would you go on that $1 million shopping spree at?
Shop Planet Blue. It's very 70s kind of style, but I like it.
What's the best thing that ever happened to you?
Right now, it'd be winning a national championship.
What's the worst thing that ever happened to you?
Probably tearing my ACL the first time.
What's your hidden talent?
I can open a starburst with my mouth really fast.
Number one thing on your bucket list?
I want to go to, I think it's called Victoria Falls, and I think it's in South Africa or something. It's like a little pool, and then it has a waterfall.
If you could change one thing about the world, what would you change and why?
Traffic, because I hate traffic.
Last question, Katie. Let's say you were on death row and about to be executed. What would your last meal be? And I need an entree, a dessert, and a beverage. What would your last meal be?
My mom's homemade pizza for my entree. Dessert would be a Pizookie from BJ's. And my drink would probably be a Margherita.
Katie, this was great. I really enjoyed talking to you. Thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me about everything. It was fun.